Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. Today I want to talk about something I've not heard talked about before on finance channels. And the topic is that your mindset matters. Now, right after I started about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, on my journey to building wealth, I learned immediately that your mindset matters. And as I have been on my journey and I teach others, I see that this is a common mistake. You explain it to them, they set their goals, they're all gung-ho, and 6 months later they're right back where they started. So the first mindset that matters is building wealth is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Get your mind around that. That does not mean you move slow. You still move as quickly and as logically as you can, but know that you're not going to get there. A lot of times, people that have taught, it takes 6 months to a year just to get ready to start building wealth because they're in such a mess. And it takes time to get out of your mess and then start over. So, mindset matters, and the first one is that it is a marathon, not a sprint. Try not to be impatient. The next mindset is change how you view wealth. One of the major mindsets that changed for me was when I realized that wealth is not about money. Wealth is about a lot of things, but it's really not about money. Wealth is about freedom. Wealth is about discipline. Wealth is about almost anything, but it's really not about money. There are a lot of people that have a lot of money that are not wealthy, and they never will be, because they think it's all about the money. It's not about greed. It's about freedom and security and discipline, and it's also about the next generation. True wealth will become generational wealth, because if you teach your offspring about wealth and they teach theirs, you'll avoid the third generation losing all of your wealth. So it's about a lot, but it's not about the money. And as soon as you can change your mindset about that, the quicker and easier it'll be, because you won't be tripping over dollars to save pennies. My dad used to do that all the time. Another mindset that had to change for me wasn't really that big of a change, because I've always been a frugal person. But one of the things that I've noticed is when people start to make a little bit of money, they want to spend money. They want to be wealthy. So they're going to, as soon as they get the money, go spend it. Don't do that. Remember the old saying, leave with the girl who you came to the dance with? The habits that got you to building wealth, stick with those habits. And one of them is frugality. Be frugal, not cheap, but be frugal. Try not to spend money. I read a study that was done, and I read this years ago, but they did a study of a lot of millionaires around the country, and the majority of millionaires drove used pickup trucks for their main mode of transportation. Used pickup trucks. Now, that's not to say that they didn't have a nicer vehicle, but the one they drove around was the used pickup truck. Because they understand frugality, they understand depreciation, they understand why would you use a $100,000 car every day when you've got a perfectly good pickup truck to drive every day? Use the $100,000 car when you're traveling or when you're going somewhere special. That's when you use a nice car. But for everyday use, most of them use pickup trucks. My point is, because that's how they became wealthy. They drove used vehicles, they drove them until they broke down. When they broke down, they didn't just go to the first garage, they shopped around, they bartered, they bargained. They did whatever they had to do to save the money. Try not to spend the money. My whole channel is about frugality, building wealth, and how they interchange. Now here's another one, and this one I didn't really get until I started teaching to some addicts. And I noticed that the behavior that addicts go through is the same thing that I went through when I went from just living to trying to build wealth. And that is the people that are around you when you are just living, they're just living too. When you start to do things that are going to help you build wealth, they'll go away. They have to. They either have to change their behavior to be with you, or they'll go away. And it's the same, not just for building wealth, it's the same with addicts. It's the same for getting saved. If you're an unsaved person, your friends are usually all unsaved. When you get saved, your behavior changes. And within a short amount of time, as your behavior becomes more and more Christ-like, they'll go away. And it's the same with building wealth. So get rid of all the negative people around you. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to do a deal or saved money or not been a spendthrift, and I hear all kinds of negativity from me. You're never going to be wealthy. You're too old to build wealth. It takes a long time. You shouldn't spend your time doing that. Why don't you ever go out and enjoy yourself? I mean, all the negative things you could say. And I've heard them all. And you know what? I'm still building wealth and they're still being spendthrifts. Good for them. Another mindset that I had to learn, and I'm still learning, is never stop learning. I made a rule 3 or 4 years ago to learn one thing every day. One thing. That doesn't have to be about money. It can be about anything. And the reason you want to do that is it keeps your faculties sharp. It helps you to be able to absorb information. It teaches you how to categorize information. And a lot of times, things that you learn that seem to be worthless, the same type of logic that got to there, you can apply to your business. As an example, when I do videos, I do an outline. And in the outline, I go to the next step, and then I go to the next step, and then I go to the video. But I learned the process when I was in high school. So things that you might think are random that you learn, you'll end up being able to apply on your road to building wealth. Finance has always interested me. I went to college, I read the Wall Street Journal every day. I also read Advertising Age every day, I think it was weekly, every week. But anyway, I read it every day in the library, and I learned a lot. I mean, I learned, and a lot of that I still know and remember. My point is never to stop learning. It always benefits you, even if it's just reading a book. In conversation, you learn something on the internet, but always try to learn one thing a day. Now, the next mindset is your health. I was raised in the 60s and 70s, and it was, the saying back then was, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Play hard, work hard, love hard, do everything hard and fast. And I did. I smoked hard, I drank hard, I womanized hard, I I did everything hard, hard, and I planned on dying at 33. Instead, I had a heart attack at 43. I had another heart attack at 53. I developed diabetes. I was overweight. Health is important. And what good is building wealth if you're not going to be around to enjoy it once you get there? I mean, the point for me is not the getting there. The point for me is building. I love building. Whether it's building Bible study classes or building wealth or building whatever it is, I enjoy building. I enjoy seeing things grow, like my plants. I started with one little cutting from a philodendron. I now have 2 rooms filled with philodendrons. And I learned that in college. I took a horticulture class and learned how to grow things, and it's fun, and I enjoy it. Also, exercise. I never did exercise, and I'm getting back into it. I've tried. I'm now 63 years old, so it's not as easy for me to do a lot of the exercises, but I'm working on it. And then sleep. I've never slept a lot, and I have sleep issues. But the older I get, the less stress I have, the easier it is for me to sleep. And I've noticed that my body feels a lot better when it's rested. So sleep, changing your mindset about your health, about exercise, and about sleeping, all combined with the other mindsets, you will almost have to learn in order to go from where you are to wealth, because they all operate and interchangeably work together. So this is a list to help you to think about the things that you can do to increase your speed to get there, increase your likelihood of going the distance. Each one of these will work both together and independently. Well, that's about all I wanted to say. You have a great day, a great week, and happy, healthy investing.